All right, call the meeting to order. First order of business is review of the minutes from December 6th. Everything?
I did have one thing.
Yeah.
Thanks. The only, and it's a suggestion,
Welcome our town administrator,
I
how about our town manager?
town manager.
manager. Let's do that. We are being joined officially by Karina, who has started here as a new town manager for the next couple of decades. And we are
Yes.
excited to have her and welcome her. She had her first full day here today.
And
She still stay.
And
she's still
Still
here.
here. Still here. She ran through those flames nicely today.
So welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Yours?
It's a good first day.
That's fine.
Thank
Look
you.
forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Somebody like you made this.
All right, you had a,
I did a suggestion, line 102.
yeah,
Maybe we should put out the, instead of saying 1.2 billion, do the 1,250,407,424.
You didn't say all that.
I know, but should we
It's up
put
to
that
you.
specifically? What do you think?
I don't think it matters.
Doesn't matter, then never mind, I have nothing. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of December 6th as presented.
Did you have any changes?
No, sir.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect.
And then, do we have non-public?
You got it
We
right
do.
there.
non-public. I will make a motion to accept the non-public meeting minutes of December 6th as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Jane.
You're welcome.
Jane's going on vacation Wednesday. I don't
Yes.
know what we're gonna do without her.
We'll survive.
will.
We got good backup.
We do have good backup.
Good for you. Enjoy
Thank
yourself.
you.
You work
Absolutely.
hard and have done a phenomenal job and hope you can.
I
You go
will.
someplace warm?
I'm gonna start out in Vegas. It's pretty hot there.
Yeah. I'm
Rumor has
super
it.
jealous and I'm super.
No, and then I'm going out to Arizona and Utah, so I expect temperatures to relative to this, but it's okay.
Okay.
No. Have a good
Oh,
time.
you already signed it.
Relax.
All right, there you go. All right, next on the agenda is a follow-up from our discussion last week on the South Peak development guidelines that the planning board gave some input to the Board of Selectmen, and we're gonna respond with a proposal or our thoughts on how this is gonna be enforced. Did you guys get this by email?
That's it.
I think you did.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did.
Well, I'll go through and read the whole thing. It's pretty much, what I
Yes. South Peak
tried to do
guidelines.
is
I'm sending it to you now.
summarize what we talked about last week
Mhm.
and putting that together. I will say this, I have not presented this out, it's public information, public document, but I have not reached out to the new owner of CRB, the new owner of South Peak to get any input on it. But I wanted to make sure this represented first our thoughts before we do that. I don't want to make any hard and fast rules without input from really the key person who this affects.
You were gonna
Agreed.
discuss it, I thought, with the planning board on Wednesday night.
Oh, I did. I presented it to the planning board. And I said that this was not written as of that meeting. It is written now, and I will be sending this, well, depending on what happens right now. But
You reach out to Mark.
sending this, well, I want to reach out to Mark, but I will send this to the planning board that this, hasn't been approved, but this is
Right.
the official version of what I presented verbally. And I think it was January 5th or whatever the date was, the planning board's gonna have this on their agenda,
Good.
so. All right, so this is what I came up with based on last week's discussion. The Board of Selectmen received a letter from the planning board asking us to provide guidance to the planning department regarding applications for residential development in South Peak. The Board of Selectmen are proposing the following guidance. 1, single-family homes must be between 2,500 and 6,000 square feet of building square footage in quotes, as it is defined in the South Peak Master Plan that was approved by the planning board. And that definition is building square footage, the sum of all gross horizontal areas of all floors of a building measured from the exterior face of walls of heated finished space, including but not limited to stairways counted on the main level only, lofts, halls, habitable attics, closets, storage, mechanical, and utility areas. Garages and unfinished space in the basements are excluded. So that's the exact verbiage out of the planning board approval back in 2006, I think it was. This definition is only to be used in determining the approval of an application for a single-family house in South Peak. It is not the definition used by our assessors. It is not the definition used in a stormwater management determination or application. Number two, the alteration of terrain permit for South Peak was based on 2,000 square feet of gravel driveway and 2,000 square feet of building footprint, totaling 4,000 square feet of hard surface per lot. Any application meeting these guidelines will not require a Stormwater Management Act to account for post-construction runoff. For applicants that exceed the 4,000 square foot threshold for applications that exceed the 4,000 square foot threshold, will be subject to the Stormwater Management Ordinance guidelines. Since no gravel driveways are being constructed, there is already additional water runoff being created by the 2,000 square foot paved driveways. The South Peak Master Plan was approved for a total of 1,018 units with a total of 2,220 bedrooms. The South Peak Development Agreement assured the developer that the town could provide municipal water and sewer for the approved capacity. The total water and sewer capacity agreed to was 2,220 bedrooms, plus the Pemmy Base Camp. The town will stand by this commitment made in 2006 based on 2,220 bedrooms. Once South Peak reaches this bedroom limit, any further development will need additional planning board approval and will be subject to water and sewer availability based on our first come, first served policy. The number of bedrooms for each home in this is number 4. The number of bedrooms for each home in South Peak shall not be limited by the town, but will be counted as part of this 2,220 limit approved. The developer or South Peak Architectural Review Board has the right to regulate the bedroom limits for proposed homes. We agree that there is not sufficient firefighting water available for houses in the high pressure zone. This situation has existed since the first houses were built in the high pressure zone after an agreement was signed by the town and the developer to allow a limited number of houses in the high pressure zone. Until such time as this problem is solved, no permits may be issued for new construction on lots in the high pressure zone. The town has engaged an engineering company to design a tank to be located on Forest Service property that will solve many water issues, including firefighting water in the high pressure zone. The new owner of South Peak is working cooperatively with the town in siting and funding the proposed tank. And number 6, the high pressure zone has not been properly valved for years, causing a restriction on the town's ability to fully access the storage capacity of the Forest Ridge tank. Recently, we have received written notice that the booster pump station is now supplying water to all houses constructed in the high pressure zone. It is not supplying water to the Pemmy Base Camp as originally designed and approved. While still not fully compliant, this setup has freed up much of the capacity in the Forest Ridge tank. So I guess, is that a sufficient, accurate summary of what we talked about? First of all, and then second of all, our next steps with this.
I think it is. I think it really kind of summarizes the whole thing. I think
Just a
it's,
couple of comments.
Yeah.
When you cited the original basis of design, if you could put the year in there, I think if somebody wants to go back and look at it and pull the actual document, they'll know where it is.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Number two,
Good call.
I believe we're aware of homes that have already exceeded the square footage as referenced in that document.
Mhm.
Are we taking any action on those homes?
Didn't they complete a stormwater management?
Right, but even with the stormwater management, we're saying that the houses have to be at a
Oh, gotcha,
maximum
between
6,000
6, yeah.
square feet of building square footage as defined by that definition.
Gotcha.
There may be houses up there. I can't say for sure that there are. But
Ron?
we'd have to. I mean,
There's probably at least one, maybe two.
okay, and
But
again, that's, we don't,
We would have to do a accurate walkthrough.
Yep.
So we could subtract the unfinished.
Unfinished.
areas.
Okay.
right,
And, you know, the last question I had, can somebody, I want to build a 10,000 square foot home, if not that I'm interested. Can I get a waiver beyond the document? Is there a process for that, either through the town and or the HOA? Or do you know?
we're not concerned with the HOAs. I don't know what their rules
Okay.
are, but as far as the town goes, I think any planning board approval, because South Peak isn't anything special, but for
Right.
any, and if someone wanted to not abide by the planning board approval for any project on a specific lot, I believe they can apply for a waiver.
Okay.
with
To the planning
with
board.
the
Like a
plan-
variance with the.
A
planning
variance,
board,
right, with the
with the
planning
ZBA.
board.
ZBA.
Yeah.
Right, but again, there's certain rules that, there's certain
Yeah.
process and rules and notifying the butters
Oh, absolutely.
and all of that stuff.
The hardship's gonna be.
The
hard.
hardship, right, it's very
Hardship is gonna
specific,
be
right,
difficult
criteria.
to, because hardship is one of the
Right.
criteria for the
Yeah.
I do sit
ZBA.
on the ZBA.
Oh,
so
you know
I
that.
do
right.
Oh, yeah.
Right, sorry.
All right. Thank you.
One thing, as I was reading, I wanted to probably correct. In talking about the limit of 2,220 bedrooms, my sentence says, once South Peak reaches this bedroom limit, and I should put, or its equivalent. In other words, if they're gonna put in something that uses water but doesn't have bedrooms.
Yeah.
A restaurant.
Mhm.
Let's say they're gonna do some food service thing as part of what they do, that uses water.
Yeah, good call.
So I'll put or its equivalent.
Well, that hasn't gone through the site plan approval though. yet.
Nothing, that's the thing is
Yeah.
anything they do there still has to go through site plan.
Yeah.
All they have approval for now is the
Total gallon.
phase 1, 2, and 3 of the,
So maybe put the gallonage
I have that, oh,
instead of the bedrooms, the bedrooms and or the equivalent of the 361,000 or whatever it was.
okay, so total water and sewer capacity agreed to was the 300,000 gallons. I forget, but I'll get the exact number.
I'll get
Where he is.
The 333,000.
Total.
336, 760.
Is that with the penny base camp? Yes,
Oh,
Yep.
that's right. Yep.
336.
760.
Okay, so it'll say, the South Peak Development Agreement assured the developer that the town could provide municipal water and sewer for the approved capacity. The total water and sewer capacity agreed to was 2,220 bedrooms, plus the Pemmy Base Camp totaling 336,760 gallons. And then it says the town will stand by this
And
commitment.
if they put some restaurants in or whatever, you can calculate what the water usage would be and then just take it off.
Yeah.
The total allotment.
Good catch.
All right, I will make those two changes, send this out. I will then send it to the planning board. Ray Corber, Carol, And I will send this to the,
Do you have a conversation with Mark Gosian?
I have not, but I'll send it to him and
Okay,
let him have a look before.
before we etch it in
I think that'd
stone.
be a great idea.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right,
His input.
so I'll make those two
Yeah,
changes
thank you for doing that. OJ.
and get that out to everyone.
Fantastic. Here's one house so far. I'm looking at the property cards.
Okay. You love doing this.
I know, 6,783 square feet is the only one I found so far. It's
But
above.
don't forget, they're measuring that differently for the, that's the assessing card.
Correct,
They include garage space and
Unfinished space.
right.
and anything.
So chances are it's below the 6,000 square feet of living space anyway.
One would guess that.
Right, but all of the other ones are significantly low. That's the only one's even close to that 6,000.
Did you look on Hemlock?
That's where I'm on, that's
the
what I'm on now.
Hemlock one.
Huh?
That's the one on Hemlock.
Okay,
That's the one I'm on now.
okay. All right, next on the agenda is the town manager's report. I don't know if you have anything for us. Okay. if
I
you have
don't
any-
today,
If you
no.
had any questions or
No,
something.
things went smoothly today. I
Would
would
you like
say.
to give up your maiden speech, stand up and give a maiden
Yeah.
speech? or-
I wasn't
Are you
prepared to do
prepared?
so, but.
I think she could wing it.
But things went well today.
Good,
Yeah, it was a good day.
excellent.
But
I can say that we had a discussion earlier today about taxes and the tax bill coming in. Jonna, at the end of the day, let me know that she didn't think that was gonna be an issue and that she posted all the deposits that we got so far in the last few days and that we have a good buffer and she's not concerned about it, so.
Okay, cool.
Which is great.
Yes.
news.
Is she getting an assistant trained on entering that data?
I didn't see that happen today. I did go over to the tax collection side and was able to download the transaction reports from EV2Gov so I can tell what we got in the system.
Okay,
But I don't think
She did
She-
indicate she's
she-
gonna work on that.
she's gonna work
Okay.
on that.
okay.
Today was
Luann
crazy.
McLeany started.
Right.
And she's given her a run through. She's applied a couple payments and Wednesday she's gonna,
And Karina's gonna, she's gonna also teach Karina how to
yes,
do that. in
do it,
Zoom,
yes.
So that.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Okay, so there's some
Plug it in, so you have some
Okay,
backup.
all right, I mean,
Yeah.
this discussion came about because right now we have our official tax collector is Sandy Dovalak, who has graciously volunteered to be, to take on that role.
Come out of retirement.
Come out of retirement to do it. However, long before we even asked her, she had a trip down to see her
Yes.
kids plan, and she's gone for a few weeks. And we knew it was gonna be during tax season that she was leaving, but
Right.
she has got the town in good shape coming into tax season, but
She
we still have to
does.
deal with these on a daily basis. So we were
Right.
just concerned about that, but obviously that's being covered.
Yep.
And that's great. Is there anything else before?
That's it. That's all I
Okay,
got.
that's all you got. All right, follow-ups from last week, couple of things. First of all, we had talked last week about the new town assessments. And I did talk to Cindy at our assessing company. And she said that she looked this up for me and responded, but she got back to me and said that they met with or talked to 105 taxpayers during their days of abatements.
Mhm.
She said that they did not turn anyone that they know of away, and that they actually had openings on the Saturday. And again, it was a Saturday, but that was the day that were not filled, and they actually went home early that day. She did say that some of the days, people couldn't make it on Saturday, and they stayed here beyond their typical closing time on the other days. So as far as she knows, no one was turned away and told, no, we're too busy, we don't have any more openings, period. They've spoken with a few people since the I think it was 3 days of
Mhm.
being
Preliminary
open to the
hearings,
public. And they are very willing to help us out. And one thing I suggested was a pick a day in January and make that open. And she's agreeable to that, but thought it would be better if as people call, we could even promote this on the website, that, okay, those 3 days are gone.
Mhm.
If you still have a concern about your assessment, that between now and, we need to put a deadline in it. We can't have this go on for, months and months and months.
Right.
But, we know Christmas is here and that's a busy time, both for
Everyone. right.
people and our assessors. I would say we go into at least the first week of January, say, if you want to have a conversation, they're willing to talk with you up until that date and can make the changes there without going through
The formal
the
abatement
formal
process.
abatement process, because then all we're gonna do is take their request and throw it down to them anyway. So
Wednesday,
get-
January 5th,
okay, wait, Wednesday?
Wednesday, January 5th. That's 3 weeks from Wednesday. That's 3 weeks and 2 days.
Okay.
I mean, now, is she gonna come here?
No,
Or
but
this
they're
is all
gonna
gonna be on
Do it
the
on the
phone?
phone. Do it on the phone.
So why don't we reach out to her and see if the 5th will work for her?
Yep.
Just because it's right after the new year. I don't know what she's doing.
That's what we suggest as a deadline for people to
Confirm.
call and Just-
Between now and January 5th?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
as tax bills are due
Okay.
January 15th,
January 10th.
January 10th.
But
That's
it's
it.
not gonna change the tax bill.
No.
no, they have
No,
to
no,
pay
no.
the
They
tax.
have to pay the
bill.
tax
That's
bill.
right.
If the
But-
assessors
Yeah, no
agree to
question.
any changes, and then we will, after that, fix their
Right.
tax card to fix any
Yeah, it'll be
changes.
made up in the second round,
Correct.
Right,
Right.
and then we'll make it up in the second round,
Right.
the second
the
billing.
second billing, yeah.
Um,
But that'll get people through but gives them plenty of time through the holidays.
This
which
is the
tough.
second billing. We can't do that.
This is the right.
We
All
would,
right,
we would have to do an abatement.
yeah,
The first billing's in April. This
Oh,
is the
right, I
second
was
one.
thinking that we're into
Um,
the first
Yeah.
year already. no.
I was thinking that would work too.
Right.
yeah, me too. It
We would have
sounded
to do an
good.
abatement. but at
Sounded
least-
good.
But
Sounded
at least
really good.
we would have a, first of all, revised tax card that's correct, and second of all, we don't have to go through
3
the
days.
abatement
Yeah,
process. We
right,
can just say, okay, these are changes that our assessors made. We're
It's through the holidays.
agreeing to these and abating the taxes.
We actually have money in the budget for the abatement.
Yes,
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Yeah,
do.
you usually budget that
Yeah.
in your overlay,
We do.
Yeah.
We did.
We did.
and you probably bumped it up this year.
We
no?
did.
little
We
bit.
did.
We did.
We did.
yep,
Yeah, just knowing that
Mhm.
with the new assessment, there could be
A lot of abatements.
some old, but yeah.
Yep.
So Jim?
We call in directly?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
You still have the
I have a
letter?
question. I have a question.
you still have the
You
letter?
have that letter?
I have it at home.
Okay, that's the same number you're gonna call.
Can we put that number on the website? Can you confirm with her that she's okay if we put that number?
That's what I want to find out.
Yeah,
Either I will or John, because tomorrow's gonna be catch up. I'll send an email when I get back to my desk.
Yeah, I can contact her tomorrow. I've worked with Cindy in the last 2 times.
So
Okay.
just, I want to confirm and make sure we're all on the same
Yeah.
page so that people don't not get anybody answering. And she's like, well, I didn't say I was gonna be there, so I
well,
just.
and
wanted to
that's it. I
organize
mean, we might want to put down what time is,
Right.
like, they can't call at 6 o'clock at night and
Right.
expect an answer.
Right.
So it's just,
Get
make
it
it a
work out
little
the
more
kinks,
clear.
And also, I've been talking with Cindy on her cell phone, and I'm sure that's probably
Yeah,
not the number
probably
she
the
wants
office.
people to call. I don't know what the real number is, so.
Give them her home phone.
Yeah, give it Tammy's number.
Go
Tammy's
for
cell
it.
number.
Go for it.
Um,
Mine turns off.
all right, but I
Okay.
think that's a
We
good
can do that,
solution, because, we want to, I mean, it was very difficult for them and us and the taxpayers that the amounts came out right before Thanksgiving, and we had a November 30th
Right,
deadline that we missed
to get those.
to get the bills out.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, the bills went out 10 days late, even by crunching it all in before Thanksgiving. So it was the best we could do. So anyway, they're very willing to work with us. They want this to be accurate. We want this to be accurate. So if people have assessment issues, they certainly can call.
Thank you for that. And I looked, I found 3 houses that come close to the 6,000 square foot.
But
so-
not over.
Correct, other than that one. And again, it was only over by
Yeah, then,
6783. So if you measure the real living space, square footage, I bet it's closer than not.
so there may be one over, but
It's close.
Maybe more.
The rest of them are all below that.
All right, you saw someone sent us a complaint about the increase in the price of the short-term rental application.
I did.
Um, I didn't have any response to that. I mean, we're not burning up money here. We're not
No,
trying to overregulate. We've been pretty clear.
It's
Um,
less than a lot of communities.
Way, agreed.
and it's
Way
less
less.
than the national average when we have
Oh.
that presentation by Granicus.
Yeah,
They're saying the average yearly registration is the equivalent to one average night in your community, and the average night in the community was a 349 or 389 something, was 3 something.
In Lincoln, I
So-
thought it was 221.
221.
okay.
Oh, I thought it was
That-
300
yeah,
something.
200 sounds more like,
221.
Oh, I was way
Um,
off then.
and again, his
But
was
still,
not
less than
Just
just,
half.
enough, which I did not.
Less than half,
Exactly.
yeah.
his is not, was not just the rate, but the overregulation aspect of it. And it's like,
Exactly.
I don't know how much less we could regulate it. We just, we want a contract person.
Yeah,
And we want you to be honest about how many bedrooms and bathrooms you have.
right.
That's kind of our
And-
goal.
and you
The
have to have
bottom line
adequate
is
parking.
safety. The bottom line is safety.
Safety.
If somebody's
Yeah,
renting out to 8 people and they've got 2 bedrooms, they're sticking kids in attics or in basements that don't have a second means of
Exactly.
egress, don't have the proper fire safety issues. I mean, that's my concern.
wait,
major
you can't
concern.
stick kids in attics?
Only if they're bad.
Darn. Ruined my night.
Um, The next thing, Varner sent us a couple of really key updates, which he always does, but I guess maybe this week it just sort of like, I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned this. We had an arson incident at Lincoln Station. You have found a unlicensed electrician doing work on a pretty major home
Yeah.
in the area, and you found people doing exterior construction on a house that's fairly visible to the roadway with no
Without a permit.
permits, no applications, nothing, just let's
Well, the
start
application was
building.
in, just not the permit wasn't.
Oh, was the
issued.
application in?
It wasn't completed at the time I found them constructed.
Okay, it was in, just not complete.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah.
The electricians, they weren't licensed in New Hampshire, they were licensed, they had a Massachusetts license.
They, yeah, they were licensed in Massachusetts, and it was their first day on the job.
Okay,
And,
Well, that's better than.
and it don't-
That's better than no.
it's better than not licensed, that's
Yeah.
true.
Well, we
Thank
don't
you
know,
for,
wait a minute,
Larry Darrell,
Massachusetts standards
Darrell.
aren't as high as New Hampshire, so. we don't-
I don't know about
Actually,
Yeah, we
that.
know. Let's get-
I don't know about that, but
Massa's
Remember, I'm a
pretty well
former
regulated.
Massel. so I
At
can
least
say
they
that.
were licensed somewhere.
three
It's
of us
better than
are.
Larry,
Okay.
Darrell, and Darrell doing it.
Now, they, good guys, and they found their way back home.
And they were
Well,
nice enough, you said. They
Yeah,
weren't
yeah, they were, and
belligerent or
I
anything.
explained to them that they could easily get licensed in New Hampshire. I
They chose to take the day off.
mean, it was
they couldn't get licensed in one day anyway, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to say, we appreciate those, and maybe I don't mention everyone at every meeting, but it's great input for us to see what's going on in the
Absolutely.
town. And
And
he's
I
doing a
would go
phenomenal job
further.
just keeping the town under your thumb and knowing what's going on.
You do, and you do so much that people don't see here and whatnot, that I, being here on a daily basis lately, have caught that nobody even knows about, that you don't update us on, that it's just like, to you, it's remote. You just do it, but
It's
it's
just automatic.
automatic, but it means something. And the arson, I'm pretty sure that you saved the Mount Washington Hotel from going up in flames, which is pretty darn amazing. Ron had coincidentally just taken an arson course in Concord, a refresher course in Concord, and recognized this fire as arson and helped track down the guy who had reservations that night for the Mount Washington Hotel. Now, if he had set the same type of fire that it did at the lodge at Lincoln Station on a concrete floor at the lodge, which would have been on a wooden floor at the Mount Washington, it probably wouldn't be standing right now. So kudos to you for recognizing that and realizing it. And
Thank you. and,
Saving
you
it.
know, and thanks to the state of New Hampshire, the fire marshal's office, we had one supervisor, fire marshal, and to other fire marshals that greatly assisted in the investigation on very quickly. They actually apprehended that person.
Fantastic.
Yeah, good team effort. That's the way it should be.
Agreed.
Well,
Thank
good.
you for all you do.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
And then the only other thing I had was just the budget. I saw that we got
Some updates.
revised spreadsheets, but they were just the things that we had already talked
I
about.
believe so.
There was nothing new on
The only
those.
new thing you got was the CRFs and the warrant sheet that I gave you tonight. Capital, I handed you a
Right.
single crossed out. That's the only one. Next one. Is that, was it, oh, she already gave you that. Okay.
Yeah,
that-
we
that
already,
was the
I
only
got,
one.
these are exactly the same.
Okay, then you already have that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But those are what we had already talked about.
I didn't think we had gone through those yet. We may have.
I believe we did.
I tell you, I looked at it every day forever. It
I
kind
know,
of ran
I know.
together for after a while.
Well,
There's
the
still a
CR
couple we don't have.
capital reserve, the trust funds,
Yeah.
we went right with the CIP.
CIP, yeah.
So there's no,
Right,
I mean,
yep.
I don't say there's no discussion. There was no changes to what they made.
Right,
And then the only other two things is that one new cruiser
yep, in the highway block.
and then the
grant.
highway block grant, which we
Right,
get from the state and just have to appropriate.
right. The only thing we're waiting on now, I believe we have the numbers for the banners and hardware for the banners.
Mhm.
So that'll be on the patriotic purposes budget that I'll bring you guys next week. John was just busy today, so I told her, don't worry, don't sweat it. We'll do it next week. We got the numbers for the flooring
And George,
estimate. And did we get the one for the door downstairs?
Yes.
That came in?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen that one yet. So we have those, we'll put those in. I have the flooring one.
And we can discuss those next week.
We can discuss them next week, yeah.
the 15,000.
For the
was
front door,
Right, that's the 13,
but
the
the,
carpeting was 15.
yeah, right, and then the downstairs, the PD door, we
That's
don't
what we
have
are
that one
waiting
yet.
on.
Yeah,
No, I'm gonna
okay.
email Kara tonight.
That's the only one we haven't gotten.
The
so far.
downstairs door, we still don't have a price on that?
Correct.
Oh.
Yeah, I can, I have Larry's number, I can call him too.
And I think Granite State Glass, they were there fixing bulletproof glass.
And they did an estimate
And they
as
did
well.
an estimate, so we'll have
Two
two, because I think that
downstairs.
one's gonna be
Yeah.
a little pricey.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll do those next week, and then I think that was the only ones we were holding back. The other one was the personnel, but then that's weird, just because of that fluctuates so bad, we do that one last.
And that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
every time we make a change in any salary budget,
Yeah, and Chad had a couple changes in his budget. He got his estimates in as well. So there was a couple things that went down and one that was, he had to add or go up on or something, but I'll bring that to you next week.
all right, so we'll have a further, is there anything else in the budget we need to discuss tonight?
So not tonight.
All right. And we did get a schedule from the budget committee.
Yeah. I did that schedule and okayed it with all the department heads and everything, except for cemetery. I haven't got a commitment from them yet, but I don't see that as being a problem.
All right, so is there no budget committee meetings between now and January 4th?
There's one this Thursday, but they're not meeting with any department heads
Department
until
heads.
January.
Okay,
I gotta email Mike, I need that agenda because Lisa's not here Wednesday. And I gotta get it on the website and I'm gone at 12,
Wednesday, yep.
so, and there's nobody to post it.
Yeah, we meet Thursday, then we
Just figure
don't,
it
we don't meet again until January 4th, and you have that agenda. I sent that to you, I actually handed it to you today, you want it emailed?
You mean the meeting schedule?
Yes, because you're not back, we have.
No,
one
but
on-
Mike, so who sent, Mike usually sends me the agenda and distributes
Gotcha,
it
so
to
you, and you'll
everybody.
have that, so you can put it on the website from where you are, never mind.
You got it,
Yeah.
and just make sure Mike has the Zoom information.
He has that, I gave it to him.
Perfect.
Yeah, I scheduled Ron actually helped me go through and schedule all those Zoom meetings
Okay,
today.
that's right.
He's the Zoom
Great,
guru.
great.
I took over the Zooming the budget meeting, so he doesn't have to be here 5 nights a week.
I,
Yeah, that was-
because
that
I'm
was-
here at the budget committee anyway.
that's
so.
a great idea.
Yeah.
You're welcome to come to the meetings, but we should not be requiring.
There's
to
one
be
of them
here.
that he
Yeah.
has to come to.
Yeah, the fire, when the fire department budget's on, you do have to come to that one.
You have to be here on January 25th. Other than that, you're good.
What's the 25th?
That's his
That's
fire,
fine.
yeah. And don't forget the Wednesday joint meeting, we're meeting at 4:30 prior to the budget committee. We're meeting with the
January
Board of Selectmen.
19th.
January the 19th.
Oh, that's at 4:30?
Yes,
We're
you'll get
meeting-
an invite. Don't
Okay.
stress, all right? You'll
No
never
stress about it.
remember now anyway.
You need to stress from now until then.
It's
With
on
the
my
Woodstock.
calendar. I don't think it's on for 4:30. I think we just wrote down at the budget.
Yeah, we're gonna meet at
5:30.
4:30 and then they're gonna meet at 5:30. So we're gonna have Board of Selectmen at 4:30, budget committee at 5:30. I
Okay,
said
So
that
we'll
right.
send you the invite. I'll send the
Which,
invite when Ron sends.
We'll have to double check that one.
yeah, I think we decided though to zoom in as two separate.
Yes,
So I can set up the other one as well and just have it set up for both.
You can end one and start the next.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. Just don't let me forget to do that tomorrow.
okay. That's all I had. Did you have anything?
Couple of things. I wanted to point out that last, was it Thursday, was the Just for Kids shopping, the same day you were tied up with it.
Yeah.
Just for Kids shopping at the school, and I wanted to thank the school for allowing the Friends of Rec to do that. Last year, we had a catalog sale, which I don't know if you're 5 years old, buying stuff out of a catalog is not real fun. And it was not super successful, but we made it work and it happened. This year, we struggled on how to do a safe, the school's done a great job keeping the school open. The kids are all masked, they stay in their cohorts, it's the whole thing. So we talked to the school and they let us set up in the gym during the day, during school, and they sent each classroom down as a classroom. And we had one adult masked, we had lots of hand sanitizer around. And one adult took each child and shopped and did their tags and helped them pay for it. And then we had these reusable shopping bags and we sent them all back to their classrooms with their bags. And yeah, it was just a fantastic day. Yeah, it was good. Tara and Ryan Fairbrother and myself went the night before and the afternoon before and set everything up and had it ready to go the next morning. Ryan shopped his butt off all day, as well as a bunch of other volunteers. Kathy cooked, wrapped for us all day.
Oh, good.
Yeah, there were a few others. It was just a great day, a great thing, and I'm thank the school for allowing the Friends of Rec to do that at school during the day, during a school day
During
even,
school day.
because it was, I think it meant a lot to a lot of the kids. That was it.
Okay, Jack, did you have anything?
so,
All right. One of the things we talked about with you was that we wanted to set a date to tour Lincoln.
Yeah,
Do you want to talk about a date?
sure, let's do it.
He's asking, you want a date?
I'm asking you for a date. I don't know if this week is too soon, and we want to, we've got to include Nate in this because he should be coming.
Do you want me to
With
see if Nate can join us at, he would go a half hour early to 5 o'clock?
What, next week?
Yeah, didn't you say next week?
Oh, I was thinking we would do this like during the day. It's gonna take,
Oh.
we're gonna go to the water treatment plant.
Yeah, we don't want it to be
Sewer
dark
treatment
out.
plan.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think too, let Karina acclimate herself to the people who are involved, so when she goes, so I don't think there's a major rush at this point in time.
I could do Wednesday or Friday.
Give it a
might
couple
want
of
to
weeks.
check with
Well,
Nate. 'cause
do
he's
Do you want me to
using-
check? I know Nate
vacation
can't do
time.
Thursday. Let me check with him, see if he can do Wednesday or
Well,
Friday. Does that work? for
This
you?
week or next week?
I mean, like Jackson, rather than trying to squeeze it in this week, I would say either do it the week before Christmas. During Christmas week,
Christmas week is
might,
probably crazy.
might
up
be-
here, right?
This town is
Why don't you
crowded,
let me
so
check with Nate?
Do it after the first of the
do it
year.
after the first of the year.
I don't want to
big
wait till the
rush.
first of the year, honestly, because we've got 3 more meetings before that happens, and when we talk about wherever, she's gonna have no clue what we're talking about. I think we sooner rather
Wait a
than
minute,
later.
I take umbrage to that statement. Now, she's gonna know everything that goes on here. She's gonna have a lot of clues
So when
about
I
a lot of
say
stuff, so.
Up next door to the old salt
All right.
shed, she's gonna know exactly what it
Look,
is.
why don't you talk to Nate about the week before Christmas?
Next week,
That's
yeah.
next week.
I'll talk to Nate, and then Monday, I'll have a couple of suggestions at Monday's meeting, and we can make a decision.
Yeah, I'm meeting with Nate and
Thursday.
Thursday, yeah,
Sam
with the
Kenny, yeah,
town.
Kenny, yeah.
Right.
All right,
And Ron, you should be at that meeting too, with Nate and Sam Kenny for the
what is that for?
grant opportunities for the water tank.
Okay. Oh, Sam Kenny from
Correct.
Weston Sampson?
Yes.
Yeah. Got it. I knew that name was familiar. All right, I'm totally flexible next week, so.
I'm pretty open next week too, during the day.
Yeah.
I'm doing much going
I'll
on.
be here.
Okay.
You know where to find me.
Are there any days better than, for you than others, Jack, next week?
Not that I know about. off the
Okay.
top of my head.
I'll check with Nate
I'll
and
get
I'll get
back
back to you. I can, or you could check with Nate even, either one of us. I need to not just stop. Why don't you check with Nate
I'll check with
and then
Nate.
you can get a hold of us.
Perfect. Okay.
I've got to get myself out of that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm like getting out of it.
Delegate the
Yes.
task, okay?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, 5 weeks. I
All
know,
right.
it's crazy.
Let's open up for public participation. Does anyone have anything? You are. Roger?
You talked about the ski tow, man, extra parking area there.
Yes.
And back in the sixties, when we dug in that bank, the town did, we had too much water there. That's why they put rocks in there, filled it in. And David Thompson planted all those trees up there to absorb the water that was running so much out. So if you get monkey with that bank, you're gonna get water. And we had enough problems with Forest Ridge on Pollard Road. We don't need any more water coming here. So I think it is, you're putting some wood to the fire by getting into that bank.
Nate mentioned that
I was talking to Nate
Yeah.
about it. and
they had to
well,
put that drainage at the bottom of the slope a
yeah,
couple
they
years
already
ago
put
because
the
it was so
drainage
wet.
in the bottom of the
Yeah.
slope,
Yeah,
and that's raising hell down
Yeah.
the Forest Ridge too. You get a lot of water out of there, and you're borderline over there now, I think, at Forest Ridge. You still got a problem with the guy up above there that hasn't got his pond working right. And the more land you open up over there and you get into that spring, you're gonna know you got your hands.
Mhm. Yeah. Good to know,
Look at it, I
Roger.
mean, if you don't take my word, it's
No,
all
good
right,
to
you can
know.
check with David
No,
Thompson.
no, no,
Yeah,
I
no, I-
absolutely believe it. I've seen
I
water over there. It's
think-
good to know.
I think you're right, and I think it's something that we had not been aware of when we were talking about that over there.
Nate
so-
was talking about it though.
Yeah,
Nate- Nate's aware of
Yeah,
that?
he's definitely aware.
Yeah, I went over and talked to Nate the
Yeah.
other day about it. He thought
Thank
he
you.
might be going over to the right more, but I mean,
Right,
no matter what you get in that bank, the water's coming out.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Roger.
Yes. I know Nate had talked about, as you face the bank you're talking about,
Yeah.
he was also talking about going over this way
Yeah, but
and maybe even going up and over. That can't be wet over there, that's high.
no, it's high, and that's where they were trying to, they knew when they got into the springs there, they shuttled this way. That's why that bank is like that. It's a
Yeah.
loop in there. You started to go that way, and it just got worse.
Roger, you know the drainage ditch down below there that abuts the roadway there? Is that, because I was over there a number of times this summer when we were talking about this stuff, and I never saw any large amounts of
Well,
water.
that's right where the parking lot is, between the parking lot and the road.
Yes,
sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I think that was your under drainage, and where that drains to, I don't believe that's tied into the, I think it's just a hole. I don't think there's a pipe in that, I don't believe.
I know there's French drain in through there, no?
Not sure.
From way
But I know
back.
the pipe they put in is on the base of the mountain.
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah, I don't think anything ever come out of that. That was just where the land was, and they had a pit in it before, and they just filled it in and left that hole there. I had never been in the hole to look at it.
53.
So that might take some drainage planning if we move forward with that. And I wonder if they can drain that out into that pit that's between the road and the parking
I
lot.
don't think so. I think that's. Water don't go uphill, you try to fill that, try to go that other bank and try to go to that hole, it ain't gonna go anywhere but where it's going now, it's all underneath this. Bedrock.
Where is the water going now that's coming down that hill then? Is it going underneath the parking lot, just underground, you think?
I would think so. I might have just, wasn't that interested in, I was doing another thing, but I fear that. Put a problem in the water. David Thompson, he was really involved in that. We asked him about the trees and about that pond, that little hole there.
David might be a good one to have Nick chat with. And that's certainly something we want to make sure an engineer looked at, that we don't want to spend money building a parking lot that we
Swimming pool in the
regret
summer?
or gets.
A lot of people have been wanting us to build a swimming pool.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Another thing, on Pollard Road up where Duquette's house is. Remember, we had a problem with the water drainage when they put the road in and the sidewalk. I mentioned that, and said there was a dry well, not to worry about it. Well, somebody be very worried about it. It's about 6-8 inches deep, probably 20 feet long, and it's going right down that guy's driveway. The dry well is below that. I asked when he put it in, there's a drain on the other side of the road, if they could go across and put a drain there, but they said not to worry about it because the dry well is gonna take it. And the worst part of that, when you're going south on that road, you see that water, you have a tendency to turn for the middle of the road. And when you do, the car coming, you can't get over the curb. It's gonna be, it's a safety issue in bad shape.
It's going down Duquette's driveway. I thought
Duquette-
isn't it coming into JJ's front yard?
No, it is above it. It goes right down that, right, it starts pooling right where that guy's driveway, that's the big house out
It
back.
doesn't make it down to
It
JJ's
doesn't make
yard.
it doesn't make it into JJ's place, no.
Hmm.
And anytime after a big rainstorm, you'll see that.
And it actually pulls out into the road?
Oh, yeah, it's in the road. It doesn't leave the road. The puddle stays, it's a little pond right there in the road.
Okay. I was not aware of that. Is that something we can
Yeah, I'll check into that.
talk to Nate about?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll do this one, Karina, so, because you don't know where JJ or Duquette's live. so.
I got pond on Paula Road.
Yes. I'll work on that one.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks, Roger. Paul?
Yeah, I just received my recent tax bill as well as my mother's, and I just wanted to let you know that I'm not very happy with them at all as a taxpayer. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess my response to that is the town portion is lower than last year.
Mhm.
It's all we control.
I had two that went up slightly and one that went down, so.
You know, I understand that
the other one.
they went up due to the assessments being increased, but you know, things can increase in value doesn't really mean anything to elderly people or people who want to stay in town. Just because your property increases in value doesn't mean you want to sell it. It just means that it's worth more. There's a lot of people in town who want to stay in town, and having increased property values, which result in increased taxes, is really not a good thing for them. And I don't think it's good for the town either.
Well, I know that you are always concerned about fairness.
I am.
Well, then let's stick with that, because the total amount of money that we raised for the town portion of the taxes is the same as last year. And without including the higher assessments, there's more taxable property in town because houses have been built. So
Correct.
with that in mind, the total tax burden has gone down. What has changed, you can make the face all you want, Paul. What has
I'm agreeing with you, OJ. I'm just waiting for you.
is the fairness about how that gets divided among the taxpayers. Okay, if someone's house was undervalued compared to other people's, their taxes went up. If someone's property was valued above average compared to other people's, their taxes went down. It's the total tax burden did not go up. Okay, so it was just become fairer to everyone. And I'm sure that that doesn't bother you because you're a big proponent of being fair. You preach that all the time here, and that's what happened. So I'm glad that you're happy with it.
Well, no, I'm not happy with it. That's not what I said. I said I was unhappy with it. And what it's done is, I mean,
Fairness portion, that's what I'm pleased with.
well, OJ, probably the fairness portion, but what happens when you get into the fairness portion, you got to realize that the people who have higher valued properties in Lincoln probably saw the least impact in their tax bill. And the people who have been here the longest and probably have lived here a long time and lived in their houses, including the elderly, probably saw the biggest increases in their taxes. Was that fair, as you say, as far as the burden goes? Yes, it was. But in reality, people who have lived in Lincoln and want to live in Lincoln and who have allowed all of the changes in Lincoln are now paying a bigger share of the burden.
Oh, BS. I don't believe a word of that. It has nothing to do with whose house is worth more and whose is worth less. It has everything to do with whose house was assessed correctly and whose wasn't, Paul. It doesn't have anything to do with my house and your house being worth more or less. It has to do with what your assessment was and what it is now. Was it close like before? Was it assessed at close to what it was worth? Or was it assessed high or low? And now they're all assessed the same. So now it's
Again,
equivalent. It has nothing to do with the people who own the new people with more expensive houses paying less money. That's BS. It's just BS. Sorry. Thank you.
What do you call it? No, I understand it, Timmy. I really do. I'm just going to say that, look, there's a lot of people who are going to be, a lot of local people who are going to be paying more money in taxes this year, and I don't think they're going to be very happy about it.
And there's a few of them paying less. Me, I'm one of them. Two of mine evidently were assessed a little higher than they should have been because they went down. One of them was assessed a little lower than it should have been because it went up just a little, not a bunch. The other one I haven't looked at yet, so I can't tell you what that one was.
Not too many people in Lincoln are like you, Timmy, can afford to own 3 or 4 properties.
Well, they're actually two of them are my children's. They just
Oh,
happen to be in my name.
All right, well, thank you, Paul. Any other public comment, Jim?
Yeah, can I get into this conversation?
Sure.
No.
The house that I'm living in right now has no land around it at all. I own the land that the house sets on. I got my tax bill. I'm being taxed $15,000 more than my mother paid for it in 2006, and it's a double wide modular home. They're supposed to depreciate. If I was to sell that house today and tell somebody I want it off my property in 30 days, I probably couldn't get $10,000 for that house. Why am I taxed $118,000? For a double wide mobile
If
home?
that is in fact the case, then you should file for an abatement.
Well,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, but this-
that's why I said I'm gonna call.
100%.
And call them because they will explain better than I could, in place and in use. Okay? You're not, if you have a double wide that's sitting out in that parking lot and needs to be moved, that is worth way less than a double wide that's sitting on a nice piece of land hooked up to town water, town.
It's sitting on my piece of land. It's not sitting on its own piece of land.
It's
And
worth,
like Paul just said,
okay,
if I wanted to sell it,
talk to the assessor
Yeah,
about that.
Definitely. No question.
So, Deb?
I did talk to the assessors,
Oh, good.
okay, and the woman I spoke to was very nice. And she explained to me that a good portion of this, because mine went up over $105,000 just on the piece where my house is, and nothing's been done to my house. Okay, and she explained to me a good portion of it is these out-of-staters and out-of-towners coming in with cash and paying way over the asking price on these things, so it brings the value of everybody else up over, way over, whether your property is worth that much or not. And the assessors themselves, they have to go by state mandates, and so they can't do too much about it. And I agree with Paul, and I agree with Jimmy. The rate those taxes came out, those assessments, there's a lot of people that want to stay living in this town, and they're not going to be able to afford to. Because I don't, Tammy, you can say what you want, yours might have gone down, mine certainly didn't. I have a vacant piece of property, they upped them $20,000 on it. The only thing difference is we mow the lawn. You know, it's getting to the point where I think you will see a lot of for sale signs coming, and you're gonna see a lot of out-of-staters coming in here, and you're gonna have a lot more Airbnbs and HomeAways and all that. I think it's a mistake, but that's why I don't run the town, because my opinion doesn't matter. And don't say it does, because it doesn't.
And they're all gonna go to restaurants to eat, and they're gonna have nobody to serve them because nobody's living in this town.
Okay, not that I don't disagree with you, but that's getting off the subject of assessment. Assessment is the fair market value of a property.
How can it jump so quick? Like my house, it hit $100,000.
It's a
It hasn't been done
reflection.
over 5 years,
Right.
Roger. That's one of the
Right.
reasons
Yeah,
why. But Roger, in my own case, my land went over $200,000 increase. And I don't live in an area where the lots are worth 400 and some odd thousand
I
dollars.
have a,
So I'll be filing for an abatement for certain.
I have a
I
small,
mean, when,
small lot.
let me just finish. Like Debbie said, I had a real estate license for 15 years down in the state below us, which I won't name. But anyways, the comparability, Debbie, is what is supposed to drive the comparable sale prices for different homes and things like that. So if somebody's got a house worth 200 and everybody on the street selling for 400, and it's a comparable type house, then it will go up to that value. But again, you know, for the assessor to say they have no control, they do have control, because they should utilize comps. And in my case, with my land going up, I don't live in South Peak where lots are selling for 400,000. My comparability, which abuts my property, is the landing where lots are going for 150 to 200,000. So hence I'll be filing for an abatement. And that's what, if you feel that you're wrong, Jim, Deb, Raj, that's what you should do, file for an
Yeah,
abatement.
yeah, I mean, the house was built in 47. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and in the last 15 years, I put all I could in it before I could retire. New roof, furnace, windows. But the tax is gonna kill me. I'm retired. You know, you just can't do it. You know, I brought my family up here, lived here 60 goddamn years in this town, and it's ready for me to put a for sale sign and move on. Where the hell to go? I don't know. It's a shame you have to pack up and leave your own hometown, I tell you.
Now, before you do that, look at housing prices and tax rates in other towns.
Well, hey,
I mean, we're at $10.57. That's total. The town portion, we're $5 is the town tax rate, $5. I mean, I don't know what other towns are less than that, but there's not many.
What's the tax rate in Camden?
25, 27. Tax rate in Plymouth. I mean, it's obviously a very different comparison,
Plymouth,
but
you can't compare that
it's,
with this
no,
little
it's
town.
$30. I mean,
That's because Plymouth has so much property that
State owned that.
they don't
Plymouth.
pay taxes on it anyhow.
but let's say even Thornton's $20, close to $20 per thousand.
Yeah, but what is it, the value of the land though?
Well, I think a lot of towns use CNP, a lot of towns use the same assessing firm
They
that
do.
you're using. I think they represent 40 something
Well, and
towns
again,
and.
Land in Lincoln is selling for more than land in Thornton or Campton
Mhm.
or most other towns. And that's.
You're missing the point. Who wants to sell it? Who wants to sell it? Does Roger want to sell his house? Does my mother want to sell her house?
Oh,
Do
where,
I
are
want to sell my house? No. You guys got to listen to this because there's a lot of people here in this town that don't want to sell their house and want to continue to live here until they get old and older and maybe pass it on to their kids. But at the rate it's going, it's not going to happen. And this is what sprawl is all about. This is about when everybody comes in and the people who have more can afford to pay more and drive all those of us who can't afford that or the elderly out. And that's what happens. And, you know, and that's what happens when you look into budgets too. And people are going to start looking at budgets when they start paying bigger tax bills. The only way that you can affect that is to have an effect on the budget. And maybe that's the only way they can affect it, but that may happen.
They say urban sprawl, but how do we tell people, no, you cannot buy a piece of land here and you cannot put $1 million house on it? We don't have that power to do that. We can't tell somebody, you cannot sell your house for 300,000. You have to sell it for 100,000 so that people can afford to live here. That's just not realistic. Even if we wanted to, which would be great, we can't do that. We can't. No matter what the tax rate is or isn't, we can't do it.
And you look around at some of these, just take a ride on some of these side streets, you go up this side street there. Guy's house is right next door on the company houses are all.
Mhm, yeah,
right,
yeah.
right? In the back of his yard, he's got a little lean-to over the top, you got a goddamn hot tub on top. Nice to have a neighbor like that when you're out there in the hot tub out there, car underneath.
I don't disagree with you, Roger. I wouldn't want it, but how do we tell them you cannot do it?
Town, we had a nice little mill town.
I don't disagree, but how
Bring,
can
bring
we?
those comments to the planning board,
Yes.
okay? We're talking about assessments here. If
Right.
that guy has a hot tub on his back deck, his house is probably assessed at a higher rate and he's contributing to the tax
Right.
rate. Again,
I don't
This-
disagree.
there's a contingent of this town that's live free or die. Don't tell me what to do with my property. Don't tell me
Right.
what I can and can't do, okay? And that has prevailed and that has allowed Mr. Airbnb to put a hot tub on his deck in a residential neighborhood. And the town has spoken numerous times that that's the attitude. And that's how the planning board has developed its master plan and proceeded. That's a planning board issue. And we-
OJ, you really,
We're,
you missed one
Wait.
thing.
we're,
You're
we're,
missing one thing.
wait a minute, Paul, we're talking about assessments here.
No, I just want to let you, I just want to remind everybody here of one thing again. When all of the development happened in Lincoln, when it started, Phil Graving and all of the developers, either on the Route 3 Council, and there was another one, said, this is a goose laid the golden egg. All of you people who live here will be able to stay here and everybody else will pick up your taxes for your increased schools and your increase this and your increase that, your public works and your buildings and your fire department. And you know what? It's getting shoved right up their backside now, because now our taxes are going up. And the only one that's picking it up is the locals. That's who's gonna pick this up.
I think it's
Paul-
statewide though,
It is.
unfortunately. It's not necessarily just Lincoln. I think statewide, unfortunately, and
And-
even in communities, Campton, Thornton, Woodstock, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
It is.
it's statewide.
It is.
You're correct.
And-
Yes.
And Paul, our tax burden, the total amount raised by taxes this year, okay, is less proportionally to the total tax base, all right, pre-assessment, before we
Right.
add the assessment increase, it's lower,
Yes.
okay? So if you seriously have a problem with this and this is really firing you up, you need to talk to the county and the school board because that's where the increase is from. It's not from us.
Mm.
And when you
No,
talk-
I don't. The only thing I'm gonna do is talk to the taxpayers when it comes to the budget
Paul, when you
time.
talk- Paul, When you talk about cutting budgets, plural, you're always pointing your finger at us. I
Ours
don't
is
remember
lower.
seeing you at many school board meetings over the year, school district meetings over the year. I don't see you standing up and making proposals at those meetings about cutting budgets. I don't see you fighting with. the-
Whoa.
That's for your
You gotta
tax
think-
bills.
That's
That's
make that comment, you better think back, because I was one that sat on it with, I believe it was Tammy, when we were doing the reassessment between Lincoln and Woodstock. And I have always said, and I was on the school board for 3 years and there was never an increase. We didn't even negotiate a new contract because I didn't want the increase in there because I wanted to be performance-based pay and they didn't want to. And I tried to get better representation for Lincoln when it was on the school board and we couldn't do that. And then when it came to the rate for the town, how that was divided up, it was heavily weighted with Woodstock and we just lost, and I sat there and I tried really hard.
That reminds me, they're gonna start the, gosh, I can't think of the name of it now, the school.
Apportionment,
Not proportionate, but yes, the contributions between each town, the committee, again,
the apportionment formula.
after the school funding formula. School funding formula committee will start after the district meeting this year. They're gonna start those again. So it'll be for next budget season.
And I don't know what the representation percentage is between Lincoln and Woodstock, but if that's not a fair apportionment, it's not going to go any way than it did, any better than it did last time, Tammy. You know that.
Currently, we have 4 Lincoln, 3 Woodstock school board members on the board. That may change in March, but right now, currently, we have 4 Lincoln, 3 Woodstock residents make up the school board.
That might help because last time that's what the vote came right down to.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would agree with you and I would love to serve. I've got a ton of information on it, but it just, we fought really hard and you're aware of that because you were there. So.
Absolutely. Yep, it was an uphill battle. Okay,
All right,
I have another question.
Deb,
Just a thought. Has anyone ever considered that maybe Lincoln go to a once-a-year tax billing and it be like the, what do you call it, the June, July bill? When people aren't paying for heat, their electricity bill is down because it's not dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You're not hitting people at Christmas time. There's a lot of towns that do it and have done it for years. It's just a thought, maybe something to consider. I don't know.
the
There's some that
tax
do
rate,
it quarterly.
yes, I think it would go the other way. And you might know more about this than me, but the tax rate, the tax year starts in April. The tax rate is set in October generally, October-ish area, or in our case, it was November because the reval hadn't been done. But the payment that you make in July is an estimate based on the previous year. If we only sent one out,
It would be the fall.
it would be the December bill. And I think that would make it worse. We can't just randomly pick a month and send out the bill. The final tax bill comes out in December. So if we get rid of the July one, there'd be one big one in
Why
December.
can't you get rid of the December one and just do it in July? You've already had your town meeting,
Because
so you know what the new budget,
It's
what
not
you're
based on
voted
that.
in that.
It's not based on that. The tax rate that we set in October is based on the final accounting of the previous year. So we just met in, well, it was November this year, but we set the tax rate in November. It was based on what we actually did during 2020 as far as we estimate revenue, but the tax rate's based on the actual revenue. We budget expenses, but the tax rate is set on the exact expenses. And then we take the money that we raised at the town meeting in March and say, okay, this is how much money we need to raise. And then based on last year, if there's money left over because either revenues were higher or expenses were lower, we can use that to offset some of the money that needs to be raised, and then the tax rate gets set. I'm oversimplifying it because there's overlay, there's other tax credits, there's other things, but basically that's how it's done. So if we did it once a year, it would be in that October, November timeframe with bills going out
In
in
December.
December or for December.
Whatever.
I'm sorry, I don't have a
That's
better
why I
answer.
never like to say anything at these meetings when we're recording. That's all right, whatever. I'm done.
I'm trying to answer this in a factual and polite way. If you take offense to it, I apologize.
I
Because
just don't understand why other towns can do it and Lincoln can't. You know,
if you let me know what towns do it, I'll
I'll look
investigate it.
into it.
There are
I'll
some
look into
towns,
it.
I'm looking at the RSA's right now, and you're absolutely right, because there are some towns that don't go on a fiscal year. Or a calendar year, excuse me, they
Yeah,
go
they
fiscal
on
year.
fiscal year.
So their year ends in April. April or March 31st, begins April 1. So doing it that way, they can have it so their bills go out May or June or, somewhere around there. Or even the end of May, or beginning of May, I should say. So, I mean, they could do it that way, so it comes out.
Yeah,
but
I
we
don't know, because Plymouth, this works on a fiscal year, not a calendar year, and we still get the 2 semi-annual billings in the spring and the fall
At the same times.
at the same time. Yeah.
Trying to find that one again. Because you could do it that way, but we go in a calendar year, we don't go fiscal year, so.
How do you change that? Do you have to be a charter? Yeah, charter?
I, to be honest, I'm not
Yeah, I don't
100%
know
sure,
either.
yeah.
All right, here's. Committed to selecting a 100.
OJ, could I make a comment?
Sure.
The school district is on a fiscal year and the school district's budget ends June 30th. The town is on a calendar year. Calendar year ends December 31st. The tax rate that you set in October is based on the budget that you appropriated in March for both the school district and the town. You then take the revenues that you have received to date at the time you set that tax rate, and then you estimate what you're going to gain before year's end. Anything that's left over in your budget or your unanticipated revenues just adds to the surplus that you have been adding year to year to year to year. It's not directly used to offset the tax rate, that specific amount. You get to look at what you have for surplus or unexpended fund balance and apply that to your tax rate if you choose to. And there have been years that you have chosen not to. Thank you.
That is correct. Thank you.
Yes, I am correct. I know that, OJ.
And maybe I didn't explain it that way, but that's.
Yeah, same thing. There are some very specific RSAs on it, and I mean, it's the whole section 76, so I'm not gonna get it to start reading them, but I'm definitely gonna do it at home.
Jim?
Can't it be kind of based on what somebody pays for the place? Just because somebody's willing to pay 400,000 for something that's only worth 200, why does mine have to go up?
It's based on the estimated market value.
Market value.
And that's how it is in the
Because
whole
he's dumb
state.
enough to pay 400,000.
That's how
for
it's
something
done
that's
in the
only
whole
worth 2.
state.
My taxes have to go up.
And that's how it's done in the
Yeah.
whole state. But yes, that's correct.
And believe me, you're not the only one that's dumbfounded by that sometimes. Gets me too.
Yeah, because they can sell their house for 3-4 million in Boston, come up here and pay 3 times as much as we're asking.
Yep, exactly, and I agree. And there's not a darn thing anyone can do about it.
Well, I've got
That's
3
how it
acres of land
goes.
that's gonna dwindle down to 1 acre, and I think I'm gonna join that side. They got that much money to throw around,
And I don't think,
my place is for sale.
I don't think anyone would blame you, honestly, with the
Yep.
market the way it is.
I got 2 acres of land, and somebody's willing to give me a bunch of money for it.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't blame you.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you. Is there any other comments? I want to make a motion that we're going to, non-public, I want to just talk about Brian's last email regarding the CRVI lawsuit and probably just bring you up to date on at least that one legal
Yeah,
matter.
legal.
We can talk about all
Thank you,
the other
Deb.
ones.
Thank you,
if
Jim.
you want to.
Good night.
So,
Thanks for coming, Roger. It was good to see you.
Did you make a motion and all that?
okay, I'll make a motion to go into non-public for a legal
Legal.
matter.
I'll second.
Did you want to talk?
No,
Okay,
You good?
did you get my information?
I did. Yeah, we've had that, but yes, thank you for
You
that.
already had that?
Yep, but we get those, they send them to us annually, those grant opportunities.
I have a good contact now.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you very much
To
for
the
that.
town manager,
thanks, Al.
I have a lot of maps of the town of Lincoln, so anytime you're involved, wanting to look at some, I have some back in 1937.
Wonderful.
Tell you the houses were there and who was living in them. Sometimes you see some of these.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
He's gonna.
And-
love
and-
the information.
Even more valuable than the maps is what's in his head. because-
Yes, agreed.
Well, and he's got a snowblower that
And he's-
I.
True.
Thanks, Roger. It was good to see you.
Roger, good to see you. Take care. Merry Christmas. We don't
We
see
have
you
a,
before then.
we have a motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.